Well, good evening, Coffee Shop Greens. How you doing? Enjoying a good evening cup of coffee. It's one of the things I look forward to coming on from work. Well, I'm going to tell them what we're having tonight. We didn't see it. We didn't send out a reel, but Mama's going to tell you.
Instead of pork chops, I didn't find them in the freezer.
Right.
I found tenderloin.
Pork tenderloin.
Pork tenderloin. So that's what we're going to have.
And what makes these old-fashioned, Mama?
It's just salt and pepper. No flour, no seasoning.
No
nothing.
specialty, nothing tonight.
Plain Jane.
We normally like to add that special stuff. You know, just to give it a little extra flavor. But Mama was talking the other night, and she brought it up again tonight too. What'd you have when you was a kid?
Plain pork chops, salt and pepper. And flour.
Everything was salt and pepper.
That's all we had.
Mama said all the season we had in the whole house was salt and pepper, and sometimes you didn't have it.
Well, we had cinnamon and cloves and stuff for bacon and pickles and stuff.
But I mean, like for lunch, supper, you would
supper.
never have
No,
a teaspoon of this and this or that. And
no, salt and pepper usually.
I heard another person saying the same thing. And I told Mama, I said, you know, those meals was awful good back in the day. I've had some of them. I'm not so young. I don't remember Granny's cooking, Mama's cooking.
I think that's true.
They don't get in that grease.
We're gonna have to salt and pepper.
You know how you lay your meat out and let it thaw so it'll all be good? We did today at, what was it, 1 o'clock when you let it out?
Yeah.
It was still frozen, so I've had to defrost these tenderloins. And they may still be a little freeze on them. But I'm going to cook them, put the lid on, and that's going to take care of it. Now, I'm not going to worry about the other side or this side or that side. I'm just sprinkling a little salt and pepper on them. Because that's going to be our flavoring tonight, and that's going to be enough. And I'm letting a little bit hit the grease. Come over here and look at this. I'm letting a little bit hit the grease, and that'll bloom it. That's a word I learned from the cooking show, meaning, I guess what I would say, if I was just talking, I would say that'll bring out the flavor of the spice. But they call it blooming it, meaning whatever it's supposed to do, it lets it do it.
Brings out the flavor.
It's what it does, huh, Mama? Now, I hope these will all fit in there. If they don't, it'll be a crowded ride home. Because I'm going to mash them around here and squeeze them in here. Mm-hmm. I hear people talk about don't crowd this. We crowd everything we do. We cook everything on as hot as we can. And we do break all the rules, but we can eat it. And that's all that matters. Now, that's an awful lot of pork tenderloin, John, for you and Mama. Here's the reason. Mama's going to eat about 5 of these.
Oh, sure she is.
Here's the reason. We just put this whole pack when we bought it in the freezer. Well, we had to thaw it off. If we'd portioned it out, we'd have done about 4 and we'd had 5 or 6 meals here. But we didn't do that. We just simply throwed it all in the freezer. We froze the whole pack. Now, you cook somewhere, no. You got to thaw the whole pack to get them out. Mm-hmm. And what are you going to do with them? Put the raw pork chops in the refrigerator and then eat them another day, or what? Oh, you want to take that away from me?
Yeah, it's nice. We'll eat them for breakfast in the morning.
We can do several things with them, and I'll give you the same thing. We'll probably eat one of those apiece unless we get a small one, and then we might eat 2. But we can take those, we'll eat them for breakfast in the morning, as Mama said. Then maybe tomorrow night, or another night, we might put a little barbecue sauce and have barbecue pork chops. Or I might take the pork chops and just grind them up with that chopper, the Tupperware chopper, and make pulled pork barbecue sandwiches and have coleslaw and have a whole different meal. So they won't go to waste. And normally we don't. Mama even said, why did we freeze that whole thing? And I said, well, I'll tell you why. If I did it, this is exactly what I would want for crock pot pork tenderloin barbecue. So it wouldn't be beyond me to stick a whole pack like that in a crock pot one morning, put me some Dr. Pepper on it, season it up real good, let them cook all day, then throw barbecue on them, have mashed potato, or have the potato salad, macaroni salad and coleslaw for a pork, barbecue pork eaten. And then the next day I have sandwiches. So that's, sometimes I'll use tenderloin or ribs or whatever pork I can come up with that's on sale. We got this, what price was on this, Mama? $6 and...
I think something like that.
$6 and change. I seen the package a while ago. And for $6, we're going to get a meal tonight. Guarantee. Look at that. We're going to get breakfast probably in the morning with an egg and some toast or a biscuit. Mama might break out some biscuits tomorrow since we got pork chops.
That
And-
sounds good.
It does, don't it, Mama? And maybe gravy.
Oh, boy.
And we'll eat those on a pork chop sandwich, or I'll barbecue them up, but they won't go to waste and they'll hold better in the refrigerator. We don't keep our rule of thumb. This is something we made up, so don't say John said. Our rule of thumb is we don't keep fresh meat in the refrigerator over 2 days. And the day we put it in there counts as day one. So there's not much time. Like if we're going to put it in there today fresh, we're going to eat it today or we're going to eat it tomorrow. And on a extreme emergency, something really comes up, we'll check it the next day and try to eat it then. No more than 3 days. Chicken, pork, you just don't do it, do you? And if it's questionable, there's no question about it. We ain't eating it. So that's a good, healthy way
Oh,
for
it's
us.
smelling good right
It
here.
might be me, Mom. I smell like a pork chop today.
You do.
Ode to pork chop.
You dogs followed you home?
I'd have to put a pork chop around my neck to get the dogs to play with me. No, I really don't here. Now I may have to do some else's, but my babies, that's all they want to do. That's all they want to do. I went out there this evening and I just looked at them. I didn't even get out there with them because I knew I was coming here to cook, and I knew the circumstances wouldn't be good. I'd be home.
Ew, Oliver earlier was nutty.
Well,
Black
he
nice.
wasn't too clean out there a while ago.
He was nasty.
He gets out and plays with his toys, and he gets under the barn.
He'd
Our
been
barn,
down there for sure, because that's the only wet place they are, and that's where he'd been.
my dad's mom and dad lived here in a smaller house. It's still in here somewhere, but we've built onto it since then. But they lived here, and Mom and Dad was going to build a house where our barn is. So they built a foundation, concrete block foundation. They didn't have the floor poured yet, but the walls were built, footers were put, windows was in it and all. Well, they went and bought the lumber to build the house, and we had a barn beyond this barn, and they stacked it up in the barn. It was in the dry, perfect place for it, very close to the house. They could have,
And the blackboard on it.
and the insulated board, the tech board that you build today, it used to be blackboard. I had everything with the roof bought. And we had a real bad storm, and lightning struck the barn, caught the barn on fire. So basically, all the wood for their home burnt up in that. And they were just working people, and they were just trying to survive. So it delayed the project greatly. It delayed it so much so, my papa died the following year. My granny was left in the home alone.
And she wouldn't stay there.
And she was afraid. She'd never been by herself in her life, and she didn't like it. So she said, "Don't build a house, just move in with me." And I think we did for a while, then we moved up on the hill. There's more to the story. But here's the part I'm getting to about Oliver. I'm taking the long road. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So here sets a perfectly good foundation down there. So our barn wasn't a typical barn, like a pole barn that we would have built, what the old one was. So Dad has a concrete block foundation. Now things have changed, and he's not going to build a house there. In fact, they bought a house up on the hill right across from Granny, and that's the reason we ended up moving up there. So here he's got this foundation. So, my dad and your dad or nobody's going to let that waste. So he just built him a barn on top of that. out. So he builds the loft, would have been the main floor of the house area, and that's where the hay was. But underneath it, on the back side, was like 2 big garage doors, openings, and we run cows under there, and they would go under the barn. It was always cool and always nice. So over the years, we would clean that barn out. Dad had a box blade tractor. We cleaned that out. So the last years we ran cows, there's still, everything was under there. Well, it's all turned into wonderful dark dirt, mud, whatever. Those dogs are in heaven in the barn.
It's cold.
And it's empty down there, so they can see if something's in there. I've been under there. Don't seem to be anything else living under there with them. So they go down there all the time. And in these hot days, they stay in the barn. If you go holler for them, they'll come from the barn. And now look at that. Look, oh, there's a steam bath. So when I say they're muddy and nasty, you farmers out there know exactly what I mean. And we've not had cows down there in 20 years, but it's still a barn. And they get down there and they roll in that cold soil and all that. And I don't blame them. If I was hot, I probably couldn't get a fan or what. I'd be going, where's some dirt I can roll in because I'm hot. So Ollie loves it. He can't help it that he's white mostly. So he comes home sometimes looking a fright, don't he, Mama?
Yeah.
Well, tonight when I went there and looked at him this evening, I said, oh boy, I talked to him. I said, oh boy, I'll have to visit you after I eat. You ain't in no condition for me to talk to right now.
He was muddy.
He was.
And he rubbed up against my leg, and I thought, if you got mud on me.
Well, he rubbed up against my leg the other day, and I came in and didn't know it. And you know how dirt dries white, chalky looking? Took me back to school years, and I thought, I have got chalk from my knees to the hem of my pants.
This was black. It wouldn't have been chalky.
This was another mud pile he's got. And I, was taking them off, and I had to squirt them with some Dawn and stuff and wipe it off before I could even wash my clothes. I thought, well, it's that pup. What's that pup that's got me?
You know how he sits on my feet?
Mm-hmm.
I was out there feeding him yesterday, morning, and I tried to take a step and I couldn't. He was sit square down on the top of my foot and just sitting there and wouldn't move. I couldn't move. I finally got him off of my foot till I could take a step and move. I said, you're too big for this.
I would hate to be in a competition of who Abby and Ollie loves more, because I would lose. If we can't taking a poll on here, who's your favorite? That right there, I would lose. I wouldn't even be able to get in the room. I'd be so far on down the line. They love Mama.
He just backed up and sat right on top of it. I said, when he is a puppy, little puppy, it wasn't too bad. But
He's a big puppy.
He's big now. And when you try to move your foot to take a step and he's on it,
You know it. Yeah. We didn't share it with y'all because we wasn't sure what was going on, but Ollie had a little medical emergency last weekend. And he had to have a little surgical procedure. I won't go into any details because it's just not, I just ain't going to. But he's fine. He's doing great. He's on antibiotics. The vet said, it happens. This is just one of those things, that puppy pains that we go through. And we were worried about the little fella, but he's fine. He had his little surgery Monday, and it didn't take long. Everything was great. He's home. He's had Mama's dropped the set out her ring. Mom, that's what you get with Mama when she's in the kitchen. I'm used to it, but I'm like, are you all right? And she'll say, I'm all right. I just dropped this. I dropped that. But she knows she couldn't cook in the library. That throw her out.
You ain't supposed to cook in a library, no.
But Oliver's great, and he's got his shots, which he was already on that, and he was already good. So he goes back in a week or so for follow-up, and I want him to do a few more checkups on him. And then Abby, we never did get her surgery, but that's coming, not shortly, y'all. So I guess what I'm trying to say, if you want to go broke, get a couple of dogs.
They'll take you there, won't they?
It's worth every penny. You know, it's just like your children or anybody you love. It don't matter what it costs if they're happy, healthy, and you can bring them home and love on them. But I was going to tell y'all, you know how we brag on him all the time. But the vet assistant said, this is the sweetest puppy. Mama, they can't see you.
No.
This is the sweetest puppy I've ever seen. Can I keep him? I'm going to keep him. And I said, well, maybe for the day, but we'll have to have him. She said, he is so adorable. And she said, no matter what we did to him, he was so agreeable. She said, it was just like, I can't believe how sweet he is. And I said, he is. He's the best dog ever. And so the next day she called me and she said, how's my little boy? I said, he's doing good. And she said, I swear, he is so sweet. I was just sitting here thinking about how sweet he is. She said, so I thought, I gotta call and check on him. I said, well, he's doing fine. He's not having any pain. He is doing great. So that's an update on our little weekend. Amen to that, John. I just spent a fortune. Oh, Cynthia, if I had all the money that I have spent on dogs, cats, cows, that I've spent, not what my daddy spent, but what I spent. You couldn't see me I could stack it up and you wouldn't be able to see us. It would be like a tower. Because I brought in every stray I come across. And the first thing they got, depending on, like, I brought a German Shepherd home one day. Fully grown. She was a rescue. So the next day I take her to the beautician, to the dog groomer. I said, she needs a bath and all the things. And she said, well, she bites. I have no idea. I just met her last night about 9:30. I said, well, she ain't bit me yet. So I went back to pick her up because it was a little delay. And she said to me before I left, do you care if we use a muzzle on her? I said, no, that's fine. And I come back and she was sitting there. And I said, you have to use a muzzle? She said, are you kidding? She said, that dog walked in the shower and sat down. Let me shampoo her up. I have washed her. I conditioned her. I cut her nails. And she has not moved. She said, that dog is so sweet. I said, well, I'm glad. So, next day was the vet. Got all that done. Mama said, now, you're doing a lot for this dog. Are you going to rehome that dog? And I said, don't think so, Mama. She's too sweet. So, we kept her in the house. We had a German Shepherd in the house. But honest to goodness, it's just like Abby. You gotta read your dog and listen to them and watch them. She didn't like it in the house. She was no problem. It was winter's the reason I kept her in. And she was emaciated. She was really poor. She needed to gain about 20 pounds. And Dad took her. And she took him. And they spent their days for a long time. She had heartworms. We had to treat her for those. She needed health care. And he would ride her down the fields to the pond. She would swim laps, and he would take her. They'd ride through the graveyard on the side by side. He could say her name. Her name is Bailey. He could say, Bailey. She was right beside of him. I would see him out the window, and he had a cane most of the time when he was out. He didn't have it all the time, but when he was out. And you'd see him walking around the barn with a cane and her right behind him, watching every move he made. And me and Mama felt much better, Bailey guarding Daddy, than him out by himself.
Oh, yeah.
And he would come home, and you would have thought that he had taken his grandchild to Disney World. Because you get a play-by-play of where they rode, who she barked at, who she didn't, who she let pet her, who. Because he'd ride her around, she'd sit right in the seat with him on the side by side. And he'd say, then we went for a swim, and she swam for about 30 minutes.
You give her a bath or take her and have her groom, and he'd take her to the pond and let her swim.
I would take her and have her groom, she just smells so good. Because she was indoor-outdoor. She did what she wanted. In fact, I'd ask her, Betty, you coming in or you staying out? And she knew what in meant. And she'd either get up and come in, or she'd lay on the porch. And we let her do what she wanted to.
Yeah.
She was very good dog, wasn't she, Mama?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just like anything you love. You're going to spend a little bit on, but it's worth it. Now these are taking a little while because it was cold. But I'm just letting them do it. I'm going to let that steam out. Potatoes are cooking. We got our pork and beans. We're having our traditional, old-fashioned pork chop. There's pork tenderloin supper. Just old-fashioned pork chops. And we open up a can of pork and beans. Write this recipe down. Open up a good, juicy can of pork and beans and put it in a container. And that's what we eat for supper. With some mashed potatoes. And an old-fashioned pork chop with just salt and pepper on it. There's tons of things I could put on these. I could smother them. I could put some y'all's seasonings on them. Tons of things we could do with these. But these are the old-fashioned. These are just salt and pepper. Cooked probably like your grandmama did. You know, there was a time you had to have pretty good income to afford a bunch of spices and stuff. You were pretty much, salt was a rare commodity. I bet y'all that some of you probably know, but some of you may not know. Do you know the word salary? Your salary that you make it work started out with salt. People literally worked for salt. It was so rare. And the origin of the word salary, S-A-L, salary, comes from salt. So we're still working for salt, aren't we? But that's the way it went. So back then, salt, if you had salt and pepper, that's about all you needed, wasn't it, Mama?
Oh yeah, that's all we had.
Before I started cooking with Mama, there was years I didn't cook with her. I would still help her with stuff, but basically when she started with coffee time, I barely would nudge her over into the other seasonings. And it started out like, I just want salt and pepper on mine. And I said, well, I'm going to put a little bit of this on there. I'm going to put a little bit of that. And she said, well, I should taste of mine. And the next time she'd let me put it on hers. Like hamburgers, she would only let me use salt and pepper.
I'm still a big salt and pepper.
She's still a big salt, but she will use y'all's Southern Secret and Bama Burger. She will use a few of those, just a little bit, or Fancy Steakhouse, whatever we're using. But Mama's still a purist when it comes to most seasons. Ain't you, Mama?
Yeah, when you're raised all your life that way, that's about what you want.
I gotta tell you the truth. This is my favorite way to do pork chops too. I can flour them, I can bread them, I can put ranch in the seasoning. I can soak them in buttermilk, and they're so good. But when you really get down to the bottom line, Mama's is best for me. And I was raised, even though I'm her kid, I was raised a lot like her because she raised me like her mom and daddy raised her, eating the same kinds of foods. And that's how a lot of times it goes. Most all of us like what our parents like, ate it the way our parents ate it. And that's just a part of it, ain't it, Mama?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn that up just a notch and let them brown. And a lot of times we'll throw these in the Macro Pro grill. And that's the easiest way to cook them. But this time there's too many, and we're doing them old-fashioned, in a skillet and everything. And you just let them go low and slow like that. Don't try to burn them up. Just get them good and brown. Did y'all check the post out for Tupperware I put on there? Those are some ridiculous prices that they've come down to. We're getting ready to go to a new catalog, and they're showing new prices, and they're coming down. So, maybe they've heard you. That's a good thing. I think the grill is going to come down. I think last night was the last for free shipping over $149. It'll tell you if you go over there. Mama, do you remember?
No, I don't.
All the days run together.
I can't even tell you what today's date is.
I told my friend yesterday, now this is how bad off I am. Y'all mark it down. She was talking about she was going to do something. I said, I won't do that. I'll do that. I said, I'm not doing it today. I'll probably do that in the morning. And she said, in the morning. Because she was going to do it that evening. We're talking about scrubbing porches and getting fire pits set up for fall and, you know, all that stuff. And I said, I'm not going to do it today. I may do that in the morning. This was Wednesday. And she said, in the morning. How are you going to have time to do it in the morning? I said, well, I don't have nothing on the agenda for tomorrow, I don't reckon. She said, work. I said, oh, yeah. Tomorrow's Thursday. I was thinking it was Friday for some reason. She said, you're rushing it. I said, I reckon I am. I reckon I am. That's more than rushing it. I may need to have an MRI or something. Because I was...
You reckon I should call the doctor and set one?
Well, Mama, if I keep thinking Wednesdays or Fridays, we're going to have a look at me. Because that's ridiculous. You see how it's doing that? Can you make me feel better tonight? You know, are y'all... And it was, I don't know why I wasn't even thinking about it. Just like, maybe I was just sitting there thinking, it's time for it to be Friday. Anybody else getting your days mixed up? Supper sounds delicious. Hope it's... Well, thank you, Karen. There it is. Look at them pork chops. Browning up. Bubbling up. Hey, Rosa. Hello. Hey, Joan. I guess Wednesday felt like a Friday this time. Yeah, Rhonda, it did. I don't know why I was thinking that. Don't really have a reason for it, but I said, no, I ain't going to do that tonight. I might do that in the morning. I guess you thought, well, you're crazy. You ain't going to get up before work and clean porches and get fire pits ready. I get my days wonky all the time. Like, well, Brenda, you're making me feel better. There's one true person. I didn't write no checks with Friday on it. Does anybody still write checks? I mentioned to a young guy about I'll get him a check, and he said, you're going to take him a check? I said, have you ever written a check? Now, when I say young, he's like 25. He said, I don't think I've ever written one. I said, okay. I still write checks. Not as much as I did. Use cards a lot. But you know, you don't want to use that bank card everywhere. And if you're paying an individual for doing a job, it's either cash or check, I think. Now, I know the guy who mows my yard, or used to, he had Venmo, and he'd say, you just fill my Venmo. And I say, here, just put it in your pocket, because I don't know about Venmo. It's hard living 1 foot in 2 worlds. And Gen X, you all know what I'm talking about. Our grandparents were born, and our parents were born pre-all of it. Gen X, we came along, and we had Atari. I don't own any of these rights or nothing. But I never had the Xbox, or whatever the next one was. So I grew up in the Atari PlayStation. Mama knows it better than I do. Have you bought PlayStations for the kids?
No.
I'm going to turn that down a little bit. We're starting to get a little smoke. But I've never played. And here, this is some of you all, you older people will understand. If you and you youngins are on here, you just may quit watching me. I told my Sunday school class this, and they accused me of lying. They said, John, I know you wouldn't lie, but I think you're lying. I have never played a video game at home. I've done the arcade, Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, all those.
We did on the Atari, whatever.
I played Atari. The kids don't count that, Mama.
They don't.
You say Atari, and they say, what's that? They look at Atari like I looked at 8-track tapes. I'd heard of them. But I have never played on any of the PlayStation games. My basketball games was little stick men with one leg bouncing, and they had a square head. And all you could hear was chuk, 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 chuk. And when you pushed the button and held it in, it would stop, and then it would go in the goal. There was no there was no sweat dripping off from them like there is. What they have today is like watching TV. Mama, is that plate for this, or do you want me to put it in that?
Whichever one, I'll get you one.
You got two things sitting out here, and I didn't know what else to use.
Oh, here you have this. You need a paper towel or not?
Yeah, probably with these pork chops you will. Has anybody else never played a video game? Me either. Gloria, thank goodness. No video games at all. Me either. I played Atari and those things back in the day. A lot of Gen Xers, we're caught in the middle of a lot of things. I went all the way through college, 4 years. Got my degrees, everything, with no internet. I think they ought to give me a doctorate. I'm not kidding. Folks, you're talking about papers that were written on typewriters, and card catalogs were used. References had to be made. You're talking about long nights of preparation. You're not talking about anything at your fingertips. And no computer. I use whiteout. I used whiteout. I used, some of y'all are going to remember, eraser pencils with little brushes on the ends. Do you remember the sheets of whiteout? That was my favorite. Liquid was hard for me to deal with. Even when they came up with the fancy little triangle sponge tips. I got the sheets of whiteout, and I could stick it in the typewriter and hit the same thing, and it would white it out. That was high tech. The sheets. Back then. Am I the only one on here that's used that? I never played video games either, Lisa. Mama done typewriters, but she used some older ones that wasn't even electric. I did have electric typewriters. I had two, and I'd play with their Stevie. So you play with your children? I agree, John. At least bump us up a degree or two. Give us a double masters or something. We had it hard. But anyway, I'm glad I was able to do it. I had to go to the mall. And go in the back of the mall and get my driver's license. And I had to get in the car with some stranger and drive. There was no simulations. I don't even think, do they even drive now when they take the test? Does your kids drive? Some of y'all got kids right now, 16 years old, ready to go. I hear them talking at church. Well, I said, first time they were talking about when I'm getting the driver's license, I said, was you nervous? Not too bad. And I said, did you get a good person or a bad person? And they just looked at me. And I said, the one that rode with you and told you to turn left, back up, dude. We got our driver's license. What are you talking about? I've learned when they look at me like I have two heads, and I just quit talking. Because I can't explain my generation to them, and they can't get theirs in my head either. But anyway.
You turned that back over on the brown.
Mama's accusing me of violations of cooking, not driving. Mama didn't? You could be right because it was
I
exactly
guess
like,
I was.
because it was exactly like you said. But it's just funny how things have changed. I can watch old shows that we watched back then because I have, that we used to have it before I cut the cable off. Those 80s shows, and I'm like, we watched this, and now it looks so different. Shows that we thought were top notch, turn of the century stuff. Now it looks so old and like everything don't look like it does
I
now.
watched the 50s and 60s.
Mom, I still watch Leave It to Beaver, and I do too. I love it.
Yeah.
Andy Griffith,
Yeah, all of them.
all that good stuff. We still watch it. John, how many burgers does a Macro Pro Grill hold? Well, Dot, I'll tell you, it holds. I'm gonna call them regular size bun burgers. It'll hold 4. You can put 4 in there. Sometimes if we make oval for cube steak, we'll put 2. If we're doing little sliders for some reason, it'll hold 9. But if you want to do a meatloaf, it'll hold 2-pound meatloaf. Just fill it. We don't use the ring. We just put it in the whole thing, and it cooks in 20 minutes. We put a little ketchup on it for 5 more, and it's done. Done, done, done. And it's delicious. There we go. So, folks, here's that plate of pork tenderloin. I've sat right here and cooked every bit of it and chatted with y'all. How's that look to you? I love a good... Oh, my. That could have sat right there without you getting yourself.
I couldn't do nothing. I don't know why this grease up this.
Well, but that's had hot grease in it. I don't want you carrying it around.
What do you want me to do? Leave it there and stay?
I was going to put it right there on that corner, bring it right here, and you'd have plenty of room. We're just having 3 little things tonight.
There you go.
We're eating our usual for pork chop. Mama's got us all fixed up with cutlery and everything.
Somebody goofed on the potatoes. Got them too thin.
You could put some instant potatoes on thick on
No,
right.
I don't want no instant.
I'd done that once before, remember? And it was talked about for several episodes. Yeah, these are thinner than mine.
I know it. Don't rub it in.
I wouldn't say a word. I love it when she gets on to me and she turns around and does that. Mama, we're talking about the weather. Kind of like these potatoes look like they've been mashed in the rain. That's the last one. These will thicken up. But tomorrow they'll clump out of an eyeball of it. Mom, these are a little bit thinner than the ones you made fun of me on.
I know it. I know you're going to say that.
It's okay, Mama. They'll eat.
Stir them around there. Maybe they'll cool. You want tea?
It has to be decaf, and I got coffee over here.
This is decaf.
Okay, I'll take some of your tea. Because I can't pass it up.
I know you will.
Well, did you put too much cream in, or did you leave too much water in them?
I put too much cream in them.
Well, I don't think you
It
can.
was pretty big, and I just.
I don't think you can put too much cream in them.
I did that.
I mean, I was just thinking, they're about like them that I served up that day. What was it you said?
I don't really.
That I gave a new meaning to creamed potatoes?
Yeah, I probably did too. Well, they're better than they
I
was.
stirred them the whole time. I've worked them taters. You could put a little potato flakes in. Well, watch out. She about made another mistake. That would have been 2 tonight, but I would not have pointed that out.
I believe you just did.
No, you didn't make the mistake.
Here.
Thank you, Mom. She made that same mistake about 3 weeks ago. See, she's pouring that tea in the lid. She don't get it, and it holds it back. And then when it moves on it, Mama.
Yeah, it jumps out.
Oh, if you can't laugh at yourself and your children and your parents, who can you laugh at? You'll get whooped. Don't be laughing at everybody. Just laugh at the family.
Say, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you.
Mama, that makes me madder.
It does.
Yeah, when people tell me that, I'm like, well, I wasn't laughing. So you can quit now.
It's
No, we do eat light bread with this. I'm not going to, but Mama is. Pork chops, mashed potatoes, pork and beans, and light bread. Does anyone else have that combo? Are we the only people in the world?
what we got used to eating.
That was a traditional standard meal. I thought the whole world ate that way. You know, when you're a kid, whatever your mama does, you think the whole world does. I remember the first time I ate at a friend's house, and her potatoes wasn't right. She didn't put cream in them. She put salt and pepper, and she mashed them. And then she put milk in them and stirred them up.
No butter. No
And I told Mama, I said, you're going to have to go up there and teach her how to do mashed potatoes. She don't know how to do them. Mama said, you don't say that, did you? And I said, no, but they tasted awful. Mama said, you don't ever go anywhere and say anything about nothing. You eat it, or you leave it, or you hush. But you don't. I said, Mama, I think they could benefit, though. They don't have good mashed potatoes up there. I mean, you couldn't come up there and teach them that.
I know you're gonna.
That was the last one.
You're gonna rub it in some more.
I take after
And
my
we
mother.
ain't gone to bed yet. You probably.
I take after my mother. What do you think?
Yeah.
We're still talking about carrot slaw, ain't we?
It was carrot slaw. It was oranges.
Mama, let's go to the Lord before we both get in trouble. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this wonderful meal. We thank you for the fellowship that comes along with it, dear Lord. And we thank you for both of us being able to sit here and eat it tonight. Dear Lord, we just pray for all of our friends that are gathered here. If they any need or any problems, dear Lord, we just pray that you'll bless them in a mighty and prayerful way. So we pray that you'll be with our country, be with this world that we're living in. Watch over us, keep a hedge of protection on us and our families. In your name we pray. Amen. All right, Mama, pick your pork.
Pick my pork.
Pick your pork. It's all there for you.
I want that little.
I know whatever I pick you'll say, I wanted that one.
That looks thin.
Is that all you're going to eat?
Well, I'm not gonna eat 2 or 3. I'm just gonna eat one right now.
Okay, I'm going to pick this one right there because it's closest to me. Do you want me to pour the,
You're big.
could you pour me some while you pour?
You're so mean.
They're getting better. They're actually, that's enough. They'll be all over the place. That's it.
Shame on you.
Karma.
That's good.
Karma. It's coming to get you, Mama.
Yeah.
All right, let's taste all this. Let's get the perfect bite. Now, right here, folks, that's like downtown. Mashed potatoes, nice and smooth.
Go ahead and say it, Runny.
Pork tenderloin, like pork chop, and pork and beans. And we love this little combo.
PPP.
You got it, Mama. The 3P. We call this the 3P supper. And what makes these good old-fashioned pork tenderloin is we just use salt and pepper. Not that we don't like them other ways, but sometimes Mama wants to go back to the roots, don't you, Mama?
Yes.
So I'm going to get a little bit of these mashed potatoes. And look, Mama, they are firming up. I told you
Well,
that.
they ain't running all over the place.
No, you've done all right. I might let you make them again.
They probably could take off for running.
Mmm. Thick or thin, they're delicious.
That's all that matters. The taste.
Mm-hmm.
Even the carrot slaw tasted all right.
Well, now listen, 2 months. of picking on me. And now she said even the carrot slaw tasted all right.
It did.
But you continue to remind me every time I make it so I don't make that mistake again.
I started letting you out 2 or 3 carrots.
True statement. I don't get the carrot bag no more.
No. You just get a handful. And
No, I only used 4 or 5 that day. They was watching me. And it turned into carrot slaw, didn't it? So now I use 2 to 3. They were them little bitty things. Who would think it would turn the whole slaw orange? Evidently. Don't write in any hate mail that I was picking on Mama, because I'm going to tell you, we've done this my whole life. We kind of grew up together. Mama was young when she had me. I mean, 20. Was she 20?
no, I was actually 22.
Oh, 22.
But I was a young girl, though.
But I was an only child, so who did I play with? Mama and Daddy. Who did I want to do stuff? Mama and Daddy. I remember so vividly the look on my poor daddy's face every Easter when I would ask him to come out and hunt eggs for the 12th time. And he'd say, ain't we found all them eggs yet? And I said, yeah, but Daddy, I hit them again. He'd go out there and look for them. Bless his heart. And now, he was probably younger than me then, but now, if I had a kid ask me to go 12 times to look eggs, I'd probably say, no, look, kid. But he would go.
I rode bicycles with you and everything.
We do pick on each other all the time. But we love it, don't we, Mama?
Mm-hmm.
We love it. All right, folks. We're done now. We've got nothing else. Except eating them dishes. Anybody want to wash the dishes?
You do. I seen you raise your hand.
I don't see nobody out there volunteer.
You did. You raised your hand.
I will wash them, Mama. I washed them last night.
I know it. You're so good. I was proud of you.
Mm-hmm. The rule on washing dishes is we both just wash dishes. If I start washing, she'll dry. If she starts washing, I bump her over and she still dries.
That's the truth.
But I do wash faster than you.
Yeah.
So.
And you're younger than me.
So, since I wash faster, I can turn them out, can't I, Mama?
Yeah, I have to drive fast to keep the drain board cleaned up.
I ain't playing around, folks. I get them dishes. I hate dirty dishes. I don't want them in the sink, and I can't go to sleep. I can't go to bed with dirty dishes in the sink. I've tried, but I'm laying there thinking, I should have washed those dishes. I can't stand to get up in the morning and see a bunch of dirty dishes. I'll come back in here and wash them.
That's the reason I leave them sometimes. So that you.
You hear it, don't you? We usually try to wash them immediately. And we
We're
wash.
better that way.
We wash the whole time we're cleaning or cooking. And you don't have much. So tonight, what you see is the only dirty dishes in that skillet. When it cools down, and I won't let her wash that skillet anyway. She's not allowed to wash skillets or cake. Them big old glass cake plates, those things are heavy. And when they're wet, they're slippery. And so I don't ever let her wash those or the electric skillet
I have
Or-
a few times lately.
or cast iron. I don't want
Now
to.
some of them roaster things are so
They're
heavy.
heavy, you know, and they're in those Dutch ovens. So don't be letting your folks wash them. They are hard to deal with. They are hard to deal with. We've got a dishwasher, but you don't see much action.
I always washed them.
We'll even say we're going to start using the dishwasher more.
Yeah, well, I don't.
You got anything else to add tonight, Mom? We're probably keeping these people.
You're keeping them up so they can't go and enjoy the evening.
I'm hushing right now, Mama.
Yeah.
I'm hushing.
Just wish everybody a very good night. Be
Yeah,
happy and
hey.
enjoy.
Early 50s. Gloria Drummond. What's early 50s mean?
Them shows I watch is 50s and stuff.
I love paper plates. Well, some things I do, but if I'm going to have to cut pork chops, it's going to have to be something I can cut a little bit on. Me and my kids grew up together. It's a wonderful thing, ain't it, Stephanie? Hey, Tammy. Yeah, they do get slippery. They do. And if you're trying to wash them old glass cake plates, it's not easy. And the top is horrible. And you're trying to hold it and wash it and clean it, get it rinsed out, and you have to, no. That needs some, that's kind of hard. Lovely dinner. Thank you, Dottie. All right, Mom. If I'm keeping them, you go ahead and tell them good night.
Good night, Mom, and God bless you all. Have a wonderful night.
Y'all have a blessed night.
Bye-bye.
Lord willing, see you tomorrow, and who knows, we might cook again. Bye.
No.